When you hear the word rich today, you imagine numbers, a bank balance, a penthouse, a private jet, maybe gold, maybe land, maybe the luxury of never having to think about survival at all. But for almost all of human history, money did not exist. And yet, wealth did. In fact, if you took a billionaire and dropped him into the ancient human world, there is a good chance his wealth would disappear in a matter of days. Because before money, rich meant something else, something more physical, more social, more brutal. And the strangest part is this: your brain is still chasing versions of that ancient wealth, even now. To understand what wealth meant before money, you have to enter a world where survival was never abstract. There were no supermarkets, no police, no central heating, no medicine cabinet, no electric light. And for most humans who ever lived, tomorrow was never guaranteed. In that kind of world, wealth was not a number stored somewhere outside the body. It was whatever increased your chances of surviving the next season. Strength, skill, knowledge, tools, reliable allies, access to food, access to water, a place in the group. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies describe wealth far more broadly than modern people usually do. Not just possessions, but embodied wealth, material wealth, and relational wealth. In other words, what your body could do, what you physically had, and who would still help you when things went wrong. That is the first thing modern people often miss. Ancient wealth was not mainly about abundance, it was about reduced vulnerability. It meant being less exposed to hunger, to cold, to isolation, and to bad luck. So if wealth meant reduced vulnerability, what were the first forms of it? The most immediate form of wealth in the ancient world was energy, calories. If food was uncertain, then anyone with more reliable access to food was richer than the rest. But ancient wealth was not just having food. It was knowing where food was, when it appeared, how to find it, how to process it, and how not to die from it. The person who knew which plants nourished the group, which roots could be dug in winter, which berries were safe, which tracks led to prey, was carrying a kind of wealth no thief could easily steal. That is what made knowledge so powerful. It converted uncertainty into probability. And in the ancient world, probability was precious. Territory mattered for the same reason. A good location was not just beautiful, it was productive. A place near water, a place with seasonal game, a place where edible plants returned, a place that could support life with less wasted effort. Even in mobile societies, access rights, familiarity with the landscape, and control over useful spaces could matter enormously. Because the real value of land was not ownership in the modern legal sense. It was what that land kept making possible: food, safety, movement, and tomorrow. In that sense, the earliest forms of wealth were not symbolic. They were metabolic. They fed the body, and they calmed the future. But food was only one problem. Night was another. And night may have been one of the oldest forms of poverty humans ever knew. For most of human history, darkness was not peaceful. It was exposure. When the sun went down, human beings lost control of the visual world. Predators moved differently. Temperatures dropped. Small sounds meant more. The body became vulnerable. And in that world, fire was not decoration. It was a boundary, a source of warmth, a source of light, a source of cooked food. A place where human beings could extend wakefulness, social life, and thought into the night. Fire did not eliminate danger, but it changed the terms of it. It created a temporary zone of predictability, a place where the nervous system could lower itself a little, a place where stories, planning, and social bonds could gather. But even here, what mattered was not just possession. It was maintenance. Fuel had to be gathered. The fire had to be protected. The group had to organize itself around shared safety. And ancient humans did not survive the night only through objects. They survived through each other. Research on hunter-gatherer sleep suggests that ancestral humans likely benefited from group-level, sentinel-like patterns of night vigilance. Different people woke at different times. Different ages kept different rhythms, which meant that across the night, someone was often still partly awake. So even one of humanity's oldest survival technologies, fire, was inseparable from something deeper: group organization, shared watchfulness. The ancient rich were not simply the people with more things, they were often the people.